Hello, thank you for joining me in this sharing. The question that is presented today is, why do we do things that are not good for us? Why do we do things that are not good for us? Please give me one moment to receive source energy, known to me as the grand universe, a collective consciousness to assist ones with compassion and kindness, love towards oneself and Mother Earth. We are here. We are here eager to share. We are wanting and desiring ones to feel perhaps a little better than they feel at this moment. The sharing is of insights and wisdom. The sharing is to provide a space for ones to ponder, And the pondering is to assist ones to feel better. And we've talked about the layers, removing the layers, because underneath life experience, underneath disappointments and resentments and fears and anger, heartache, there is a love so grand, it is light. And we're wanting to encourage ones to reach in and start removing these layers, to find your authentic self, the truest essence of who you are, the love that each holds. Each soul is brilliant as the sun. So the question this day is, why do ones do things that are not good for us? Why do ones do things that are not good for us? And it's a fascinating question, because so often ones will say, well, I shouldn't do it. Do it anyway. Oh, that's not very good for me, or that wasn't good for me, and do it again. Having the experience over and over and over and over. So there are many reasons, if you will, or many things that ones would feel are not good for them, not good for one's soul. And it's expansive. It's not sort of your regular sort of smoking, drinking, eating, drugs, all that what ones would consume in their body. It's vast. It's bigger than that. The unkind words that one will say to oneself. Now that is not good for the soul. But yet it is something that is done repeatedly. It is something that ones will carry on, except it doesn't make ones feel better. So we don't want to sort of use that. But what we are wanting to share is that the question is, why do we do things that are not good for us? So not good for us, that is something that one would decide upon themselves, because what one feels is not good for them, it is good for another, and vice versa, if you will. So let us, using a metaphor, using we don't get to say a diagram, but using a visualization. We're just sort of wanting to walk ones through. It's going to seem sort of every day. Really, we already knew this. The question is, why do we do it? And there might be a little bit of frustration because it feels so simple, if you will. But it's not simple. It is on a deep level, and it is part of all the layers that we speak about. So we're going to give an example, if you will. So think of a teeter-totter. Think of a point in the middle. We're going to use Tracy's hands. She was very fascinated. How do you move my hands? She would ask. And then when we started creating the videos, she said, How do you make all those facial expressions? The whole process of channeling fascinates Tracy. She is always in a state of gratitude and awe. And she's always, wow, how do you do that? She's always very intrigued and fascinated. And the sense of love that flows through her, oh, she is always grateful, filled with gratitude. So think of a point, if you will, a triangle. Think of a block. Think of a straight board, if you will. We're making a teeter-totter. We're making something that goes up and down. So it's not a balance. We don't want you to visualize a balance. It's not quite the same. And you'll see why. Very similar, but not quite the same. So here we are with a peak. You have to have the point and the balance. So often when ones are living their daily lives, their existence, truly ones are desiring intuitively to feel happy, to be joyful. And that is why we say the segments are to create a space for ones to feel better than perhaps they are feeling. So it's a teeter-totter. So here you are this day. Think of yourself right in the middle, like a balance, but you're right on top of that peak. It's going one way or the other, but right now it's flat, if you will. So what is it that you are doing that you feel that isn't good for you? We don't want to pick any one thing. So let's pick several sort of that are, we want to say obvious, because it's the ones that are discussed the most, or it's the ones that ones truly beat upon themselves the most. So let us take poor decision, well, not even poor, we can't even say poor decisions, but one feels that it is a poor decision when they indulge in, let us say, foods that are not beneficial to one's body, sweets, or overeating, or smoking cigarettes, or smoking something else. Or again, to some that is fine, to others it isn't. That is what we meant by it is truly up to the one who feels it's not good for them. So we want to be mindful with our words here. We're not condemning any one thing. We're not condemning any one thing. Not at all. Not at all. It is just a sharing. The question is, why do we do things that are not beneficial to one, not good for us? So we're just wanting to explain the sort of process with it. So here you are, and you're sort of in the middle, and it teeters. Think of emotions, and think of emotions. Think of teetering. Think of truly wanting to feel better than one feels. So fill in the blank, whatever one is doing. So let us choose, we're going to choose one of Tracy's favorites. So Tracy would put in, why do I eat so much chocolate, if you will? She truly enjoys, doesn't overdo it, but certainly experiences it each and every day and for decades. So she really creates a space to enjoy her chocolate. But she, even when she's enjoying it, she sort of scolds herself for eating it. It's not good for me. I should give it up. I've done it long enough, and it goes on and on. Ones can say that about smoking. Ones can say that about drinking. Ones can say that about overeating or eating foods that feel unhealthy. So fill in the blank for you. So here you are on this teeter-totter, and you want to experience the one thing or the two things or the 10 things that are not what you feel are not good for you. We want to be careful with our wording. What you feel is not good for yourself may be fine for another. So again, no condemnation. So think about what you are doing that you feel is not good for you, and think about the moments that you do it. You will find most times it is to create a space to feel better than perhaps you are feeling. So you feel a little low, a bowl of ice cream is perfect. If you feel a little high, a bowl of ice cream is perfect. Think about it. Think about the emotions. So even if you have you're not feeling well, you're tipped up, if you will, you're not feeling well, you want to create a space to feel better, so you indulge in something that you feel is not good for you. But when you do, doesn't that feel better? Oh, it feels better. Oh, I feel better. But then in a little bit of time, things start to wear off. The experience is complete, if you will. The ice cream is no longer, or the experience, the high, is now coming down, and then ones feel low again. So then one will choose to have the same experience or create another experience to do something they feel is not good for them, to bring them up. And then with time it goes down. And you can see how it really does teeter a lot on emotions. Now here is the sort of funny part, if you will. And Tracy will say it. Isn't it funny that we can always have a reason to indulge in something that we feel is not good for us? So for Tracy, she could eat chocolate when she's feeling very sad. It'll pick her up. And when she's feeling very happy and she wants to celebrate, chocolate is perfect. A drink can do the same. When ones are feeling very low, alcohol will bring one up. Or if ones are feeling so up and they're celebrating all the good things in the world, they'll want to drink. Again, being very careful. To some, it isn't a bad thing for them, if you will. It is your own personal belief or your own personal judgment upon oneself, what is good for one or what is not good for one. So, to some, they will say, I've had a drink for years, I have a glass of wine at supper, it is good for me. And that is their belief system. Another will say, if I had a drink at supper every night, it would not be good for me. It would not be good for me. So again, personal judgment, what is good, what is not. So here you are on this teeter-totter. But isn't it fascinating that when you are up, you create something that will bring you more up, and when you are down, you create something that will bring you up? Isn't it fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? So when we talk about the layers that cover up one's own brilliance, it is this loving presence. It is your authentic self. It is who you are. And when you get to those past the layers and you get to the space of your purest sense of who you are, a space isn't needed, if you will, to lean on something to bring you up. When you find and live your authentic self, you are up, you are expansive, you are big, you are all things grand. So, to answer the question, why do ones do it? To feel better than they feel at present moment. And if they indulge in something, or they create something, or experience something, and then they beat upon themselves, think they're going up, 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 they're high, they've had it, they're on a high, and then it starts to come down, and then all the beating, we talked about unkind words to oneself, all the beating low, have to do something to bring it up. It is always this movement. There are hundreds of reasons why one wants to feel better. Life experiences, the layers we talk about. First, decide what is good for oneself. What is good for oneself? And in the moment, ones will choose to go up In the moment that one is searching, say, searching the cupboard, searching the fridge, searching the rows and the aisles in the liquor store, again, no condemnation. But there is so much scolding that goes on after the experience. There is so much scolding that goes on after the experience. And we almost want to say it is the unkind words and the scolding to oneself for creating the experience causes much greater havoc on one's being than indulging in something that they feel they should not have done. It is the condemnation upon oneself that creates a space to go down, wanting then to go up. Once you're up, down, and it is your own condemnation. Because if you truly felt that it was good for you, you wouldn't condemn it. So if one is in the belief that the drink is good, that the drugs is good, fill in the blank, that the food is good, that the chocolate is good, again, we're just choosing ones that the smoking is good. Ones will say, well, I really enjoy smoking, it calms me. So they don't have sort of the beating upon, if you will. A lot of times it's others' judgments that beat upon. So when we talk about unkind words towards oneself or unkind words towards others, judgment upon oneself, judgment upon others, condemnation upon oneself, think about it. Think about it. Chances are it is the condemning of oneself that creates the space of wanting to go back up and filling it in with something that one believes is not good for them. Think about it. Now, we are being very general. We are being very general, and it is different to each soul. It is different to each soul. But if one is wondering why they are doing something over and over that they know intuitively is not good for them, maybe good for another, but not for them, really truly look at those layers and you will discover there's a very good chance it is to make yourself feel better at the time. To make yourself feel better. And then, so let us take the example of Tracy's chocolate. So she'll have her chocolate as she's done every day for years. We want to throw in the word decades, and she knows it. And most times she is very comfortable with it, but there are some times where she says, okay, I've put on a pound or two, I have to get it off, so she'll sort of to not indulge as much. But you can see how when she was wanting to have the experience to bring herself up, and then she starts sort of seeing the experience as cause something that has made her aware that she should, now she's down here, now I have to give it up. And then feeling badly she has to give it up until it balances out, and then she'll have it again. It's tricky. It's tricky. But to understand at the time, even if Tracy is knowing she shouldn't have, or you shouldn't even use the word shouldn't. But if she is feeling that she should not consume as much, if you will, and she does because in the moment she wants to feel better, whether she's on a low or a high, it's always a good time to eat chocolate. It's always a good time to have a drink if you really think about it. So when at that moment she wants to feel better, even if she feels better, then that becomes that space I shouldn't have. And it becomes scolding. And then the scolding makes that teeter-totter go the other way. And then to feel better, I'm going to have a piece of chocolate. And then scolding, you know how it goes. So, think of something that you feel that you are doing that is not good for you. And it could be shopping. It could be all kinds of things. We're just picking a few. It's all kinds of things. All kinds of things. So pick the one that is most prevalent with you, the one that you want to sort of put an end to or stop or just show some sort of decrease it, if you will. We have to choose our words because we're being very broad here. So choose that one thing and then ask yourself, why am I doing it in the first place? Many times it's to fill a feeling of wanting to feel better, to feel something that feels void, if you will. Feel something that feels void. And if it feels full, as in celebration, it is a certain time of year and one's truly overindulged in chocolate, let us say. It is the scolding upon oneself that creates that movement to do it again. So when you are looking at what you feel is not good for you, ask yourself, why am I not feeling enough love? And we say love because love towards oneself, ones wouldn't, if they felt it wasn't good for them, they wouldn't indulge in it. It is the truth. If ones really knew it wasn't, they wouldn't do it if they had enough love for oneself. Now, we're not saying that ones don't love themselves and that's why they're doing these things. But we are saying when all things feel full, when you have that feeling of loving oneself, when you have the feeling where you're not condemning oneself, think about what you are saying to yourself. When all that stops, that teeter-totter does become a balance. It feels balanced when ones go searching and find their authentic self, coming from a place of a greater clarity, if you will. There's a balance that is found. And ones don't have that same sensation of wanting to bring the experience of something that is not good for oneself. So, did this go around in circles? Oh, yes, it did. Absolutely. There are no direct answers because each soul is so different and each soul is so different in a belief system. As pointed out, one thinks it's very good for them and another wouldn't think it was good at all. So with all the different belief systems and all the different things that ones feel perhaps that isn't good for them, we can't choose one. We can't speak about one. There are too many. But to understand that the foundation truly lies upon one's wanting to feel better. One's wanting to feel better. It is that simple. And when one's go searching through the layers, and one's love and one's light, one's authentic self with all the dreams and desires come forth, living in one's own truth. It's euphoric. Chocolate wouldn't compare. And anything else that we are using as examples wouldn't compare when one finds their truest sense of who they are. They wouldn't go searching for the experience to make them feel better because there is no words that can share that when one goes searching, what they find is extraordinary. And it is the best feeling in the world. Nothing can come close. Nothing can come close. So, we're going to conclude this segment and to say that if you are doing something that you feel is not good for you, think about it. Ponder why you are doing it when you are doing it. And you'll discover, chances are you will discover that you're wanting to feel better than perhaps you feel at the moment. And when you search a little deeper, you will understand that after you have the experience, be very mindful what you are saying to yourself, and often you will discover that you are beating upon yourself, which creates the low, which will then fuel the high. Just think about it. We want you to think about what you are saying to yourself more than what you are doing that isn't good for you. Because condemning oneself is far detrimental to one's being than something that they are doing that is not good for one. Something to ponder. We're just wanting to share, wanting you to ponder. And when you stop condemning yourself, you bring the love forth, the love we're speaking about, you bring it forth. Nothing compares. You can't get any more up when you find you, your brilliant, beautiful you. Go searching, go searching, go searching. Really, really good. There is great love for you.